Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Definition, aka your friendly neighborhood spoiler man, and with Spider-Man swinging his way back to the MCU and bringing the Sony characters with him, I thought it was time to break down all of the upcoming confirmed films in the slate. Throughout this video we're going to be discussing everything that you need to know about the lineup, including Venom, Madame Web, Into the Spider-Verse 2 and more. There may be some spoilers here in regards to plots and so on, so if you don't want to know anything at all about what could be happening in the movies, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. With that out of the way, I just want to give a huge thank you for clicking this video. Now let's get into our breakdown of all the upcoming Sony Spider-Man movies. Okay, so before we get into this list, I just want to say up top that these might not be in the order that they're released. I've made this list going off a tweet from fandom confirming the lineup, so I thought I would just stick to that order just so there's at least some basis from a verified account. Now, the first film in the slate will be Morbius, starring Jared Leto, and this has been in production for a while, so it's no real surprise here, and it will likely follow the same aesthetic of setting up the villain similar to Venom. The film will be released on the 31st of July 2020, and though we know very little about the plot at the moment, there are a lot of rumours flying about, mainly centered around the cast and characters. J.K. Simmons will be reportedly returning as J. Jonah Jameson, and he will apparently be the first character to cross over between universes, thus connecting the MCU to the wider Sonyverse. This comes from Dr. Movie News, and there have also been further reports that Tom Holland will cameo in the post-credit scene of the movie, thus showing that the films are tied together. Who knows, maybe they will link the two, with the J. Jonah Jameson news report from the ending of Far From Home appearing on the news at some point in the movie, and this would allow both Holland and J.K. Simmons to feature at the same time in the film. In addition to this, Charlemagne the God in a recent radio show said that his friend Tyrese Gibson, who is set to star in the movie, let it slip that it was indeed connected to the MCU, and this was major news upon its release. I've already made a full video covering this story, so if you want to watch the clip from the show that goes into detail on this, then I'll leave that linked above. I'll put it at the end too, just in case you want to stick around for the rest of this video. Next up is the already confirmed Venom 2, which we know has director Andy Serkis at the helm, and it will once again feature Tom Hardy in the main role. This will likely pick up on the prior events of Venom, with the character going head to head with Carnage, as was teased in the post-credits scene. Venom 2 is set to release on the 2nd of October 2020, and it will follow hot on the heels of Morbius, potentially carrying on directly from some of the events set in that film. There is also potential here for Holland to cameo as well, and as we know from leaked reports, the actor did shoot a scene for the first film, but Disney made the studio cut it due to the character being dead in Infinity War. When promoting Zombieland 2, Venom director Ruben Fleischer did say that it was always the studio's intention to have Spider-Man and Venom in the same film, so this could definitely be building up to that if it isn't put in place in this movie. On top of Carnage, Venom villain Shriek is also set to feature in the film, and she will potentially team up with the antagonist to provide a double threat for Venom. The next films on the slate are Spider-Man 3 and 4, and though these probably won't be released concurrently, it does pretty much confirm that for the next 5 years at least, Spider-Man will be directly connected to the MCU. Sony and Disney do seem very confident announcing 2 films, so we have to assume that 3, similar to Far From Home, will end with a cliffhanger that has to be paid off in a 4th film. The film will apparently focus on Peter Parker being trialed with Matt Murdock as his defense lawyer before he goes to prison to come face to face with Vulture and Scorpion. From then on, Peter will escape and find himself in the crosshairs of Kraven the Hunter, who is trying to track down the character. This is all rumours for the moment, but the first movie is scheduled to be released on the 16th of July 2021, so we will likely be getting a lot of announcements in the next 6 months or so that paint out the plot details of the film. Next up is Into the Spider-Verse 2, which is set to release in 2022 on April 8th. Recently we had a release date trailer that dropped on Twitter from the official Spider-Verse account, and it hinted at some of the characters that could be appearing in the film. Sony producer Amy Pascal recently revealed that the movie will pick up on a story thread that was actually cut from the first movie, and that it will also center around a love triangle between Miles, Gwen Stacy, and an unknown character. We're also going to be getting the Japanese Spider-Man, Takuya Yamashiro, but whether he's involved in the love plot remains to be seen. His logo style was seen for a split second in the release trailer, so it's safe to assume that he will be appearing in the movie. On top of that, we are also getting an all-female Spider-Verse spin-off that will pick up with Gwen Stacy and other characters from the Spider-Verse movies as they go off on their own adventures. We have rumours that Silk and Jessica Drew will be appearing, and die-hard Spidey fans will no doubt be happy to see these characters on the big screen finally. The next item in the slate is the Kraven the Hunter movie. Kraven is a really underrated Spider-Man film, and there's actually a lot of depth to the character on a psychological level. Kraven is absolutely fascinating, and in the comic books he's one of the only villains to truly beat Spider-Man. Now this is a weird one as the villain will apparently feature in Spider-Man 3, so whether this will launch before that or after the events of it remains to be seen. If anything on this list doesn't end up going ahead, I can see it being this, as it just seems a bit too much in terms of time. I wouldn't know whether it's best to tell a prequel or to do a sequel, but Kraven did die in the comics, which if Spider-Man 3 is going to adapt Kraven's Last Hunt, seems like a misstep. Anyway, we will see, but this seems like the most difficult one to pull off in terms of timescales from the slate. Next up, there are actually 5 films centered around side characters in the Spider-Man universe, and each one of these is apparently getting their own standalone film. The 5 films are Black Cat, Silver Sable, Silk, Jackpot, and lastly Nightwatch. Now, is this a good idea? Personally, I think that it's a bit of oversaturation. However, we did hear that Sony was developing TV shows centered around Spider-Man characters, so this could be the avenue that they take these down. Whilst they are announced as part of the film's slate, I think this seems far more likely and just makes a lot more sense. We know that Sony want to make TV shows for their characters, and who better to pick to kickstart that universe. After that is the Madame Web movie, and this has the potential to be the film that opens up Spider-Man to the multiverse. When it was first announced, there was quite a lot of backlash online, with many people asking why characters who've never had a standalone comic are getting their own standalone movie. It does seem a bit like Sony are completely milking this entire thing, and honestly, I'm not too sure on this one. Are people really all that interested in Madame Web? I guess we will see, but personally this may be a pass from me unless it's something truly special. And lastly on the list is the Sinister Six film. Now again, this is an obvious one as Sony have been trying to build a Sinister Six movie for decades now, and it looks like they finally have the opportunity to actually pull it off this time. I'm guessing everything mentioned prior to this will build up towards it, with there being a team of not only villains but also good guys that go head to head in this movie. Who knows, this might actually be the unannounced Spider-Man 4 movie, as it makes the most sense to have the villains face off against him. I actually think that Venom will be the wild card here, and the final battle will be decided by which side he falls on, and it could be great, but it also could be terrible, and hey, I guess time will tell. Anyway, that's everything that we know about the upcoming Sonyverse slate, and I have to say there are some really interesting projects in here, and I hope that they all get weaved well into the MCU, as I think there could be a lot of potential here for some amazing crossovers. Into the Spider-Verse 2 is probably the film that I'm most excited for, as that first film is a masterpiece of animation, storytelling, and in general it's just a brilliant comic book movie. The rest looks solid though, and I think with the ability to integrate Spider-Man into their films, the universe will fly, especially Venom, which always felt like it was lacking an appearance from the webhead. Either way, I'm really excited, and I can't believe that these films are just a couple of years away, as alongside the MCU releases, we have a lot to look forward to. Now, I'd of course love to hear your thoughts on the slate and which film that you're most excited for. Comment below and let me know, and if you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up, and make sure you check out our full breakdown of the news that Doctor Doom will be the main villain in Black Panther 2. We go over the report and give our thoughts on how it could work, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. If you want to come chat to me after the video, then make sure you follow me on Twitter at DefinitionYT, or head over to my Discord server, which will be linked in the description below. We drop videos on there early, so if you want to see stuff before anyone else, then that's the best place to be. It's free to join and we have an awesome community, so hopefully I see you over there very soon. We're also giving away a free copy of the Marvel Phase 3 Part 2 box set on Blu-ray, which contains Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, Captain Marvel and more, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts on the Sony slate in the comment section below. The winner's going to be chosen at random on the 15th of December, and the set will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. This is a channel for people who are super into superheroes, so if that's the kind of thing you like, hit subscribe. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I've been Definition, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.